If you want some, get some. Bad enough, take some. This is Mark Bell from SuperTraining.tv, Super Training Gym, the strongest gym in the West. This message is brought to you by HowMuchYouBench.net, The Slingshot, and the only freaking strength magazine in the world, The Power Magazine, ThePowerMagazine.com. Speaking of ThePowerMagazine.com, the next issue has Kelly Starrett, Eric Lillibridge, Brandon Lilly, Derek Poundstone, just to name a few, and my chubby little self explains how I lost 50, 70 billion pounds in an interview done and conducted by Mr. Robot Pants. So look for that issue coming out pretty soon. It's almost all locked up. Go on thepowermagazine.com and subscribe today. Get your digital issue. You'll also get a year's worth of back issues when you sign up for the digital issue. I'd sign up for both. Anyway, the question today comes from Luke Gill, and he wants to know about military presses. Isn't that a great name? It's like some of these lifts have stupid names, and some of the lifts have great names, like the military press. That's an awesome one. And then like a good morning is kind of dumb. How the hell did it ever get that name? It should be called bad weeks instead, right? It leaves you with an entire bad week of a bad back. A bad back for a full week. They suck. Why is it called a good morning? It's the word. Could you imagine waking up and doing a good... Imagine this. Imagine that when you crawl out of bed, you step foot, you're just coming to, you're doing the cranky eye deal. You drink a little bit of water that's next to your bed. You open your eyes, and there you are in a squat rack, and the bar's loaded, and you got to do a set of good mornings. Wouldn't that just be a nightmare? Maybe it should just be called nightmares. I don't know. Anyway, Luke Gill's question is about the military press, and he's not sure where to incorporate it. He just switched from 5-3-1 into doing more of a conjugate style of training, and he's just not sure where the hell he should be incorporating his military presses. A military press is a great exercise. I think powerlifters for years, especially geared powerlifters, have gotten away from it. And now you're kind of starting to see a shift back towards it because people are starting to realize what a great exercise it is and how healthy it can be for your shoulders. Even if you're not hitting huge weights in that particular movement, it is important that you always do it. It is important that you always maintain full range of motion in that movement. So a military press, in my opinion, can be used a bunch of different ways. You can use it instead of a regular bench press. I think a lot of times as power lifters, or even any athlete really, we get too caught up in our actual own sport. You see football players and basketball players and stuff doing these ladder drills and cone drills and doing all these things that they do a lot of anyway. They do a lot of these things on the field. They do a lot of these things in practice, but then they'll go to a gym or a CrossFit style place, and then you'll see them doing that again. Or people train somebody for volleyball and they work on jumping on boxes, they work on plyos, and it's like, well, those people are already jumping a lot. But I think what happens is you're in this they always say you can't see the forest from the trees. You can't see past what you're doing, and so you're just thinking, I need to be faster, I need to jump higher, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need my bench to be stronger, so I have to bench press, right? I have to bench press every single week with every single thing that I got. Even if I get hurt, I still have to fight through it, I still have to go, and I still have to just keep benching. So that's not really the truth. That's not really the way that this whole thing works. I teach you guys time and time again that this is a marathon and not a sprint. And if you can take 1 week off and do military presses and save your shoulders, save yourself from getting an overuse injury or an impingement of some sort, you will be that much further ahead of everybody else. Because once you get injured, once you seriously get hurt, you are reduced to zero. You might bench 400, you might bench 500, you might even bench 600 raw. But then you're reduced to zero when you get hurt. You hurt an elbow, you hurt a shoulder, and it really can wreak havoc on your training. So there's a bunch of different ways to utilize the military press. Way number uno would be to replace the bench press, replace a max effort day with a military press. Another way you could do it is to replace a dynamic effort training session with a military press. I would say that if you're not great at military presses, I would keep the rep range somewhere in the 6 to 10 rep range for the most part. Maybe work your way up to kind of a heavy set of 6, and then maybe finish up with 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps or something like that. But Derek Poundstone in Power Magazine actually writes a great article about shoulder strength and how to build up those shoulders, how to build up huge jacked shoulders and strong functional shoulders. So look for that article to come out pretty soon. So you can use it instead of the bench press. You can use it after bench pressing. When you're done with your main movement for the day, let's say you do close grip work off of a 2-board for your max effort work. After that, you can go ahead and throw in some military presses. They can be done with a dumbbell. They can be done with dumbbells or a barbell. I personally think that standing military presses are superior, and that's the way that they should be. That's the way that you should be doing them. However, dumbbell overhead work can be really difficult as you increase your strength. It gets to be very hard to kind of clean the weights up there safely without tweaking a bicep or hurting a shoulder or something like that. So maybe when you're using dumbbells, maybe those would be better seated. Also keep in mind you can replace a bench press workout with dumbbells on occasion. It's been recommended many times by Louis Simmons, the inventor of Westside Barbell, pretty much the inventor of the conjugate system. He's recommended many times that every third or fourth week that you do a dumbbell bench press instead of a regular bench press. And a lot of people ignore that advice, but I think it's great, sound advice, so you can continue to have healthy shoulders and you can continue to keep kicking ass. Because if you can stay in the game for a long time, you will continue to get better and you will make progress and you will eventually be good. And hopefully you can go from being good to being great. So way number 1 is to replace the bench press with the military press. Way number 2 is to utilize it as an assistance movement. The health of your shoulders is crucial and important, so don't forget other movements like side raises and front raises as well. And then also, those of you who have range of motion issues, something like the old school pullover is something that I've actually been messing around with as of late, because I kind of have this weird lat shoulder thing. I got some junk stuck in my lat that is holding my shoulder back. I didn't realize how bound up things were in that shoulder, or I'm sorry, in that lat, and it's keeping my shoulder kind of rolled forward. Those are huge shoulders. Look at that. Jacked. Anyway. So Luke Gill, that pretty much wraps that up. Utilize those military presses on occasion instead of a bench press movement, and on other times, just utilize it after a bench press movement. Be careful that you're not doing too much work, that you're not destroying your interior delt. But at the same time, you're going to need a pretty big and pretty built up interior delt if you want to hit big bench presses. And that is it from supertraining.tv. Later.